Welcome to another fantastic, epic episode of My Orgasmic Life. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Gaia Morrissette. And on My Orgasmic Life today, I'm going to, content warning. Okay, today I come with a very, very strict content warning. All right. So over the holidays, for everybody who isn't aware of this, I practice Slutty XXXmas. Okay. And it's like a whole thing. There's all sorts of traditions. You go get the slutty Christmas tree, and then you do get your slutty nails done. And then you do 7 days of non-sexual pleasure. And then you do 7 days of exploring new things sexually. And this year I decided I was going to explore 7 new things. Okay. So this is the recap of the 7 new things. Now let's do a backstory. I have been having sex for a very long time, since I was 14 years old, and I'm 47. So lots of sex. And I am always adventurous and quite exploratory. So to take on the challenge of coming up with 7 new things for me to explore, I felt like, I had to dig deep, and I might have bitten off more than I can chew. So the places that I went were fantastic and very epic, but come with a content warning. There's a lot of explicit stuff I'm going to talk about sexually, as well as from a kink perspective and a BDS perspective. There's same sex going on. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? So like I said, for me to come up with 7 new things was an adventure in itself. Okay, now each one of these 7 new things that I did will have its own show. Okay, so if you're like, what? You did what? It's what? How did you do what? Don't worry. I promise over the next 7 weeks, I will have a dedicated show to each one of the activities that I explored. Okay. So today is just an overall recap, and then each show for the next 7 weeks will dedicate a whole episode to that sexual activity that I explored. Now, I was very, very lucky that over the holiday season, over Slutty XXXmas, I had 3 very helpful partners to help to go on this adventure with. So we're going to start with the first one and the things that I got up to. So the first one, we're going to call her Kay. Okay. So Kay and I have played before. This was our first time playing, actually. I'm like, oh yeah, we already had a date, but this is our second date. Okay. And we had a lot of fun, and again, this isn't a show about my date with Kay. This is a show about what were the two Kay came up with, helped me experience 2 new sexual things. So let's start with the first one. So me and Kay were rolling around on the bed, we're having a good time, I'm giving her orgasms. We haven't even really, haven't gotten her clothes off yet. And so I lay her on her back, and I'm like coming down, and I'm going down. And before I even get to Kay's beautiful vagina, she squirts. She squirts all over the place. Now, the next period of conversation is going to be about a lot of female ejaculation, vagina ejaculation. Okay. So basically, as I'm coming down, she squirts. And typically when spending time with an ejaculator, they usually ejaculate a lot of fluid, like once or twice. So I'm like, all right, that's all right. And of course, I'm always smart. I'm always prepared. I'm always be prepared is my motto. So I make sure that I have this beautiful sex blanket that I'll talk more about as we get into more stuff, a whole show about ejaculation. Okay. Female ejaculation, vagina ejaculation will be a whole show dedicated to this. So we'll talk about that then. But anyway, so there's this beautiful sex blanket. So I got a sex blanket down. And I'm coming back down. I'm going down, and I'm just about to, reach her vagina, her vulva, and she ejaculates again. This time up my nose, in my eyes. And I'm like, hold on, please hold. Like wiping off my face. Please hold. I need to go get my safety goggles. And she's laughing. She doesn't think I'm serious. Little does she know, I'm incredibly serious. So off I go. I go get my goggles, put my goggles on. We're good to go. Now, second backstory is on my birthday, I was having a wonderful sex time with this really amazing, somebody else that helped me, Pet. And we'll get into all the things I explored with Pet over the holiday season. But anyways, so Pet, I got so excited that I didn't wear my corset and I didn't do all the things that I needed to do. So, I popped my ribs out and I hurt myself and I needed rehab. So I'm like, not gonna happen this time. So I got my corset on. Now, as I'm like enjoying Kay, and I got my goggles, so I got safety on, I got my corset on, but so I can't normally do the move that I would normally do. Anyways, she's bucking and she's bucking and she's bucking and she hits me in the nose and she almost breaks my nose. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Now, normally when I'm having sex with women, I tend to lay on top of them, my head coming down so that I can hold them in position when they're bucking, because I'm not physically strong enough to hold them so that my nose doesn't get broken. But because I had my corset on, I couldn't bend to get into that position. So I had to come up with like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And still, be the most epic lover ever. So I started to notice that she was grabbing her inner thighs and really aggressively. And so I'm like, ooh, I think she has a thing there. So I decide I'm going to attempt to, so I bite her one inner thigh. Now, as I bite her one inner thigh, my head and my ear is now turned to her vulva. And as I bite, she ejaculates. And guess where it ends up? In my ear. And so this is the first time, all the times I've had sex, my whole sex career, so to speak, I have never had ejaculate in my ear. And little do I know that this can turn into a theme. So I go and bite the other thigh. I turn my head to bite the other thigh. I got more ejaculate in that ear. And so, going back and forth. So needless to say, I'm like covered, coated, all the things. We'll have a whole thing about ejaculation in its own show. All right, moving on. There's lots to get through. So K, first ear ejaculation. Second thing, K, is that I got this brand new strapless strap-on, which is incredible. And we will have, again, a whole show about strapless and strap-on sex. Okay. So you're like, I need to know more. I promise you, we will do a whole show and I'll bring the product names out and all the things. Okay. So don't worry about it. So I'm like, okay, I got this new toy. I've had lots of strap-on sex, but I've never had strap-on sex with a strapless strap-on, which basically means there's no straps that hold the strap-on onto your body. There's a part that goes inside your vagina. So the person who's wielding the strap-on has a part of the strap-on internally in the vagina, and then you have to squeeze and hold it into position. And it vibrates, so it allows you to feel like all sorts of great sensations. Fantastic. Again, I'll do a whole show on this. Fantastic. So we did a bunch of exploring and, using the toy for the very first time. And of course, like once I get it in, I realize, oh, I forgot the lube. Where's the lube? The lube isn't in the room that we're in. So I got a new pink penis, and I'm like, it's internally, and I'm holding it, and now I gotta like squeeze my kegels, and I'm waddling around with this pink penis waggling in front of me, like actually as if it was a penis. And it's quite funny and quite entertaining, and it was very primal. Like I felt like it was a part of me. It was like all of a sudden I had a penis. And so that was very new, right? As somebody who has, I have a vagina. So this was new. And then the other piece was all the wonderful positions that we got into. So, she rode me, and when she was riding me, she then ejaculated all over my penis, because again, it felt like it was my penis. It wasn't just a toy that was attached to me. And so that was pretty profound and quite new. So those are two things. So exploring my strap-on, realizing I got a penis, ejaculation in the ear. All right, next we have a bunch of things that my beautiful, amazing master did for me, and we explored. And so the first one was empowering. It's totally empowering, Yes. I totally agree. One of the guests, one of the audience is like asking, empowering, isn't it? With a question mark. It's so empowering. Okay. So what are we talking about? Oh, next. Okay. So master, my beautiful, amazing master. He, we'll start with face fucking. Remember, I come with content warning today. I mean, I always come with a content warning, but today I really come with content warning. Okay. So this may be, and I come with a content warning because there's a lot of power exchange that I'm going to start talking about. And that power exchange may be triggering. Please take care of yourself and do not listen to the rest of this if this is going to be triggering for you. Okay. Very, very important. I really do not want you to be triggered by my adventures. Okay. And again, you can reach out to me to help you deal with any of those triggers and do any trauma healing, because that's one of my areas of expertise. And you can find me at GaiaMorrissette.com. Okay. So everybody has their warning. And everybody who's still here, all right, you ready? Buckle in. Here we go. Okay, so face fucking. So I have explored, deep throating and, some slight, face fucking, but never really from the perspective of full submission. And doing it from this place of that part of my role in that moment is giving my body over to my master to do whatever he wishes with it. Now, again, little backstory, we will do a whole show on this around consent and negotiation and positioning and all the things. Okay. So this isn't just willy-nilly. Like this is, years and years and years and years of trust and respect and communication and safety. Okay. If you're like, oh my God. So anyway, so he was like, all right, so, you're mine to do as I wish. And I'm like, yes, master. All like, yes. And so he starts to throat fuck me and to face fuck me. And I'm gagging and spitting and slobbering and a big slobbery mess. And it was very intense and incredible. And again, we'll do a whole show on this, and very, very liberating. And I was super aroused, surprisingly aroused. I didn't realize I would be that aroused by it, the whole being taken and used from that perspective. All right, moving on. Next on Master's agenda of our exploration time is orgasm denial. So anybody who knows me knows that I am like an orgasmic pleasure-seeking queen and goddess. So the idea of denying myself an orgasm is like the worst possible thing, like torture. Like you could like, I'd rather cut off my hand than to have that happen. And so this was a very powerful adventure because, again, this is with my master, and master's like, okay, well, if you didn't want to do orgasm denial, we've never explored orgasm denial, and you're the one that said that you had to come up with 7 new things. So maybe I should have thought about that beforehand. So I was like, all right. So he really leaned into it. And again, I'll do a whole show on orgasm denial, but basically here's the Cold Notes version of it. I wasn't allowed to turn off my arousal. I had to stay just below the edge of orgasm, which for me is like 2 seconds. All right. And I wasn't allowed to go over to actually have an orgasm. And he kept me in that state for about 6 to 7 hours. And then I didn't get to have an orgasm until I begged. And I'm a horrible beggar because it's just not a skill set that I've really ever had to have because no one ever denies me anything. So I never have to beg for it. So in the end, in order for me to have an orgasm, I needed to beg. And in that begging, I really meant it when I said I would do anything to have that orgasm. And I had some of the most spectacular orgasms of my life. And again, I'll do a whole show about the bleed up and how it worked and all that kind of stuff around orgasm denial. Okay. Next. Okay. So face fucking, ejaculation in the ear, strap on with me having a penis, orgasm denial. Okay. So now we get to have Pat come for a visit. And so I get to explore a bunch of new things with Pat that I've never explored. So first of all, I dom lots of people, but I've never actually chosen and taken somebody as my personal pet before. And so we had, we've been in the works of negotiating and talking about what that would look like and what that experience would be like. And so we agreed that I was going to be her mistress and she was going to be my pet. And so we really dropped into those experiences and those roles. And so here are 3 of the things that were new for me in exploring with my pet. So the first one was starting puppy play with a woman. Having her sit, having her bark, having her, leashed, following me around with a leash. So this was like the beginning of like my, puppy play with a woman. I've done a little bit of puppy play with men, and I've explored some of the puppy play being the puppy, but this is my first time exploring it with a woman, with my pet. And I really liked it. And I will have a whole show dedicated to puppy play. Okay. See, this is why we needed so much content. I got so much content. I got like next 3 months worth of content out of my holiday season. All right. Next, I explored with my pet was training pet to come on demand. This was so fantastic and amazing. And again, I wouldn't have been able to do that if Master hadn't done orgasm denial with me. So I can truly understand it. And so I, again, will do a whole show on, orgasm on demand, come on demand. All right. But anyways, so one of like one of the most amazing experiences is just after, us playing all day long and having all these experiences and me denying her orgasms and her having to ask permission to have orgasms. And eventually I could just say, come, Pat. And as I would say that, she came. She didn't come from what I was doing. I wasn't doing anything. It was her coming with me telling her to come. It was incredible. And again, we'll do a whole show on that. Next, on the So technically this will be like the 7th thing. And then I have one last thing as a bonus. Okay. So, so I got my first blowjob. Again, I'm going back to, so Pat was, giving me this amazing blowjob. And because I could feel, again, this is my strapless strap on, my new strapless strap on. So because a part of it was inside me, it felt again like my own penis, my own cock. And so I've had people suck my strap on before, and it's psychologically, and it's hot, and it's, it's powerful and these kinds of things. But to actually have it, every movement, feeling every movement inside me was like it was my penis, and she was sucking my penis, and she was sucking my penis so beautifully and so wonderfully that, she was coming from sucking my penis, and I was coming from her sucking my cock and getting my very first blowjob. So I got my very first blowjob. It was fantastic. I highly recommend them. Okay, so the last thing as a bonus, here's your bonus content. Happy 2022. So to bring Slutty XXXmas to an end, Master gave me the best flogging. And so I got to drop into and reconnect with the fact that I'm a pain slut and that I have orgasms from pain. And so I got to have some really beautiful, transcendent orgasms and get to a place of, subspace. And so I was all like vibing and wonderful and delightful and tingly all over my body. And then Master asked me, he's like, do you need anything? And I said, blueberries, please. Because I was, I needed to replenish the body. So he went and got me blueberries, and he comes downstairs and he puts the blueberries in the palm of his hand, and he puts it in front of my face, and he's like, you're such a good girl. And I lean in without even thinking about it. I lean in and I eat the blueberries as if it was a treat that he's giving me from his hand. And I came so hard and felt so like it was like intriguing and interesting, and like, what is this about? And, what's this, all this, like, I don't even understand it. But it was new for me, and I'm excited to see how that plays itself out and what that's about. And again, once I start to figure it, I'm going to figure it all, those pieces out. And once I figure those pieces out, then I'll do a whole show about this idea of giving rewards, but giving rewards in a power exchange perspective, and being so excited to be rewarded, being a good girl, being well behaved. I understand it, and I do the same thing for my pet and for my subs, so I understand from that perspective. But like on the other end of the spectrum, really understanding why is there such a deep need and deep desire of fulfillment, of contentment, of excitement to please our doms. So that was the Sexy Escapades, 7 new, actually technically 8 new things. Oh, and remember how I said I've gone my whole life without getting ejaculation in my ears? So one night over the holidays, Master ended up ejaculating in my ear as well. So it was like, I'm like, how have I gotten all my life with no ejaculating in my ears? And then I got both, penis ejaculate and vagina ejaculating in my ears. So, who knew? So I hope everybody else had a wonderful holiday season. I hope it was easy and relaxing and zen. I hope there was some pleasure in it. I know that for most people, that's not typically the truth around the holiday season. So if that's not the case and you're super stressed out and you're a big stress monkey that needs support to help deconstruct, to help process the drama and the shit show that might have happened over the holiday season. Again, trauma healing is one of my areas of expertise. And if there's been problems that have come up in relationships, because often things come up over the holidays in relationships and you need support, please reach out to me at GaiaMorrissette.com. And don't forget to tip your hostess with join my Patreon for as little as $5 a month. You can support what I do in the world as well as get awesome bonus content. All right, so we got like 8 new shows. Stay tuned for those 8 new shows of My Orgasmic Life. And you can find My Orgasmic Life on all of the platforms, all of the, brain fart, all of the podcasting platforms. Mwah. Have a sexy day. May it be filled with as much joy, contentment, zen, and pleasure as possible today. Bye-bye.